Imagine this for a second. Pristine white slopes under a brilliant blue sky, the sound of skis carving through fresh powder, and at the end of the day, you're kicking back in a multi-million-dollar chalet, feet up by a roaring fireplace, looking out at the majestic Rocky Mountains. This is the Colorado high country dream, an idyllic picture of luxury, success, and the ultimate escape. For decades, owning a piece of this paradise was considered the pinnacle of the American dream, a surefire investment that only went up. But what if I told you that dream is not just fading, it's collapsing in on itself in a spectacular financial freefall? What's happening in these iconic mountain towns isn't just a market correction or a slight dip. It's a full-blown disaster unfolding in slow motion. The very foundations of these exclusive real estate markets are cracking under the pressure of soaring interest rates, an insurance crisis, and a dramatic shift in buyer psychology. The endless stream of cash that fueled this boom has suddenly run dry, leaving behind a trail of overpriced listings, desperate sellers, and a growing sense of panic. The illusion of perpetual growth has been shattered, and the fallout is something you absolutely need to see to believe. We're going to peel back the layers of this story, town by town, from the ultra-luxury enclaves of Aspen and Telluride to the once-booming resort communities of Breckenridge and Vail. We'll look at the hard data, the shocking price drops, and the human stories behind this financial avalanche. So, if you're ready for a deep dive into one of the most significant real estate collapses happening in the country right now, do me a huge favor and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, and let me know down in the comments if you're seeing anything like this in your own backyard. Our journey into the financial avalanche starts right now. Alright, let's start at the absolute top, the pinnacle of luxury real estate, Aspen. For as long as anyone can remember, Aspen was considered bulletproof. This wasn't just a market, it was a status symbol, a private club for the world's 1%. The thinking was that the ultra-wealthy are immune to things like interest rates and market cycles. They buy with cash, and their wealth is so vast that a few million here or there doesn't matter. Well, it turns out that even billionaires feel the pinch. Or at the very least, they're smart enough to know when they're being overcharged. The myth of Aspen's invincibility is being absolutely shattered right now. We're seeing a reality check hit this town like a blizzard in May. The median home price, which seemed to only know one direction, up, has started to drop. But the real story is in the high-end market, the $10, $20, $30 million listings. These properties are just sitting and sitting and sitting. Homes that would have been snapped up in a bidding war 2 years ago are now lingering on the market for months, sometimes over a year. Sellers who thought they could name any price are now facing the harsh reality of price reductions. It's a game of chicken, and for the first time in a long time, the buyers are the ones holding all the cards. What's happening is a fundamental psychological shift. The FOMO, the fear of missing out, that drove prices to insane levels, is gone. It's been replaced by a new fear, the fear of overpaying at the peak. When even the wealthiest buyers on the planet start hesitating, you know the market has a serious problem. Aspen was the crown jewel, the ultimate safe haven for real estate investment. But as we're seeing now, when the tide goes out, even the most luxurious yachts can find themselves stuck in the sand. The cracks in Aspen's armor are a warning sign for every other luxury market in the country. From Aspen, let's head east to another name that's basically synonymous with world-class skiing: Vail. If Aspen is old money luxury, Vail is the corporate-backed, perfectly manicured resort experience. It's a town built almost entirely around one thing: tourism. For years that singular focus was its greatest strength, funneling billions of dollars into the local economy, and of course, the real estate market. Investors bought up condos and townhomes, confident that a never-ending stream of high-spending tourists would guarantee massive returns on short-term rentals. But that very reliance on tourism has now become its Achilles heel. The demand that seemed insatiable just 2 years ago has fallen off a cliff. We're talking about a sharp, undeniable decline. Buyers are spooked, and the once frenzied open houses are now quiet. The most telling sign? The price cuts. They are absolutely rampant. Go on any real estate website and look at Vail. You'll see it everywhere. Price reduced, new price, motivated seller. These aren't just small, strategic adjustments. We're seeing sellers slash hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes even millions, off their initial asking prices. They're trying to catch a falling knife, and it's a race to the bottom that nobody seems to be winning right now. And it's not just the sales market, the rental market, the very engine of Vail's investment appeal, is getting crushed. It's a classic case of supply and demand getting completely out of whack. During the boom, everyone and their brother bought a property to turn into an Airbnb. Now the town is oversaturated with rentals, and there just aren't enough tourists to fill them. Occupancy rates are down, nightly rates are being slashed, and investors who leverage themselves to the hilt, banking on those sky-high rental projections, are now finding themselves in a world of financial pain. Vail's perfectly groomed facade is hiding a market in serious trouble. Now let's talk about Breckenridge. Breck has always had this unique appeal, attracting a wider range of people than just the super elite. It's a genuine historic town with a vibrant main street, and it's long been a favorite for families, weekend warriors from Denver, and, crucially, real estate investors looking for a slightly more accessible entry point into the mountain market. That combination made it one of the hottest markets in the state during the boom. But that fire has been put out, and what's left is a glut of unsold properties that is honestly staggering to see. Drive around Breckenridge today, and you'll see for sale signs everywhere. The inventory of homes on the market has exploded. Properties that would have had multiple offers above asking price are now sitting for weeks, then months. The problem is twofold. First, you have the homeowners who bought at the peak, and now they're trapped. They can't sell without taking a massive loss, so their properties just sit there, adding to the bloated inventory numbers. Second, you have the investors who bought properties specifically for the short-term rental market, and that market has hit a brick wall. Just like in Vail, the Breckenridge short-term rental scene is completely saturated. There are simply too many Airbnbs and VRBOs, and not enough renters. Investors who base their financial models on 2021 occupancy rates are now facing a grim reality. To even get bookings, they're having to slash their nightly rates, which destroys their profit margins. This pressure is forcing many to try and offload their properties, but they're entering a market where buyers have all the power. The result is a cycle of price reductions becoming the norm, not the exception. Breckenridge is a perfect example of how an investor-driven boom can turn into a painful bust. Let's head north to Steamboat Springs, or Ski Town, USA, as it's famously known. Steamboat has always cultivated this image of being more laid-back, more of a family-friendly, authentic ranching town that just happens to have a world-class ski resort. It attracted buyers who wanted the mountain lifestyle without the glitz and attitude of places like Aspen or Vail. This strategy worked incredibly well, leading to a massive run-up in prices. But now, Steamboat is grappling with the same brutal market forces, and the strain is being felt across the entire local economy. The numbers here are stark. We're seeing a huge surge in inventory combined with a steep, and I mean steep, drop in the number of sales. It's a classic sign of a market seizing up. The homes are there, but the buyers are gone. People who moved there during the remote work boom are now being called back to offices in other states, and they're trying to sell into a market with virtually no demand. The bidding wars of a few years ago have been replaced by the quiet desperation of sellers watching their properties sit on Zillow for months on end, with barely a showing. This slowdown isn't just an abstract problem for real estate agents, it's hitting the whole town. When tourism slows and the real estate market freezes, the ripple effects are huge. Construction projects get put on hold, retail sales on the main street go down. Restaurants are quieter. The property tax revenue that the town relies on for services is under threat. The entire economic ecosystem, which became so dependent on a red-hot real estate and tourism market, is now showing serious signs of strain. Steamboat's friendly hometown vibe is being tested by some very unfriendly economic realities. Okay, now we go to what might be the most dramatic and isolated of all these towns, Telluride. Tucked away in a box canyon, Telluride has long been a secluded haven for celebrities and the ultra-rich who crave privacy. It's where people go to escape, and for a long time, its real estate market felt like it was on another planet, completely disconnected from the rest of the world. But even paradise has its problems, and Telluride is now facing a double whammy. A frozen luxury market and a crippling insurance crisis that's making it nearly impossible to close deals. The luxury market here is practically at a standstill. We're talking about breathtaking multi-million-dollar homes, the kind you see in magazines, sitting completely unsold for over a year, sometimes even two. The pool of buyers who can afford a $10 or $20 million second home is small to begin with. And right now, that pool has all but evaporated. Sellers are stuck in a state of disbelief, clinging to 2021 prices while the market has moved on without them. The magnificent isolation that once made Telluride so desirable is now working against it, making it feel risky and illiquid to potential buyers. But here's the real kicker, the issue that's pouring gasoline on the fire, the insurance crisis. Because of the increased risk of wildfires in the area, insurance companies are pulling out of Colorado's mountain regions, left and right. For the few that are still writing policies, the premiums have gone absolutely astronomical. We're hearing stories of homeowners' insurance quotes coming in at $50,000, $80,000, even over $100,000 a year. A buyer can't get a mortgage without insurance, and even cash buyers are balking at those insane costs. It's a massive, unexpected expense that is killing deals and trapping sellers in homes they can no longer afford to insure, let alone sell. Let's travel over Kebler Pass to Crested Butte, a town that proudly calls itself the last great Colorado ski town. For years that slogan was its identity. It was seen as the antidote to the corporate feel of Vail or the extreme wealth of Aspen. It was quirky, authentic, and fiercely independent, which attracted a devoted following of people who wanted a real mountain community. That authenticity fueled a massive boom. But now, Crested Butte is facing the harsh reality that it's not immune to the economic forces that are battering every other resort town in the state. The market here is now flooded with listings. The charm and authenticity that made everyone want a piece of Crested Butte led to a speculative frenzy. Now, the party is over and the hangover is brutal. The inventory of homes for sale has skyrocketed as sellers, many of whom are second homeowners or investors, are trying to cash out before things get worse. The problem is, they're all trying to run for the exit at the same time, and the door is only so big. This huge imbalance between the number of sellers and the number of buyers is creating a downward pressure on prices that is undeniable. We're seeing price drops accelerate here. What started as small 5% reductions to test the market has now turned into significant 10, 15, or even 20% slashes from the original asking price. Sellers are realizing that their 2022 valuation is a fantasy. The competition is fierce, and to even get noticed, you have to be the most competitively priced property on the block. The last great Colorado ski town is learning a lesson that many other destinations have learned before. When a market is built on hype and emotion, it can unravel just as quickly as it was built up. Now let's look at Winter Park. For a long time, Winter Park and the Fraser Valley were seen as the more affordable, accessible alternative to the big-name resorts on the other side of the pass. It was the place where Denver residents could realistically own a weekend cabin, a place where the mountain dream felt a little more attainable for the upper middle class, not just the ultra-wealthy. This reputation for relative affordability made it a hotbed of new construction and development during the boom. But now, Winter Park is caught in the exact same downward spiral as its more expensive neighbors. The new developments are the canary in the coal mine here. Huge condo projects and entire subdivisions that were started with the expectation of endless demand are now struggling to find buyers. Developers are sitting on a ton of newly built inventory that they can't move. They're being forced to offer massive incentives, builder credits, and straight-up price cuts just to get deals done. When the brand new product is selling at a discount, it puts immense downward pressure on the prices of all the existing homes in the area. Why would you buy a 10-year-old condo when you can get a new one for the same price or less? And just like everywhere else, the rental market is completely oversupplied. The promise of easy Airbnb income led to a building frenzy, and now there are entire condo buildings where nearly every unit is a short-term rental. The competition is insane. To get bookings, owners are in a race to the bottom on price, which is wrecking the cash flow calculations that made these properties seem like a good investment in the first place. The affordable option has become unaffordable for many, and for those who bought in recently, it's become a financial trap with no easy way out. If you want to see the absolute ground zero for this entire collapse, the epicenter of the catastrophic overbuild, you have to go to Silverthorne. This town, strategically located right off Interstate 70, was always seen as the practical hub for Summit County. It wasn't the destination itself, but the place you lived to access Keystone, Breckenridge, and Copper Mountain. During the boom, developers saw Silverthorne as a blank canvas, and they went on an unprecedented building spree, transforming the town's skyline. Now, It looks like a monument to bad timing and speculative excess. The numbers are just mind-boggling. We're talking about a 145% increase in new construction inventory. Think about that. The supply of brand new homes more than doubled in a very short period, right as demand was falling off a cliff. You can drive through Silverthorne right now and see the consequences everywhere. Entire condominium complexes that are half-finished, wrapped in Tyvek, with construction at a standstill. You see newly completed townhome projects that are sitting almost entirely vacant, ghost towns of luxury finishes and for sale signs. The outlet mall, once a landmark, is now overshadowed by these empty residential behemoths. This isn't just a slowdown, it's a full-blown crisis for the developers who finance these massive projects. They're burning through cash every single day, with interest payments and carrying costs on buildings that are generating zero revenue. This desperation is leading to some of the most aggressive price cuts and incentives we're seeing anywhere in the state. Our door just... Der door disendow cyper. On jor halv. Do I. Boover jo. Then door disendow these units, and they're willing to take a loss to do it. But in the process, they are completely resetting the market for the entire area, dragging down the value of every single property in Silverthorne and the surrounding towns. Let's move far south to Durango. Now Durango is different from the other towns we've talked about. It's not just a resort, it's a real city with a diversified, year-round economy. It has a college, a major hospital, and a vibrant downtown that exists independently of the ski hill. You would think this would insulate it from the worst of the resort market collapse, but instead, Durango is facing its own unique version of the crisis, a completely frozen market defined by extreme unaffordability and a standoff between buyers and sellers. The problem in Durango is that prices shot up so high, so fast, that they became completely disconnected from the local economy. The median home price is now wildly out of reach for the vast majority of people who actually live and work in the city. This has created a massive affordability crisis, but at the same time, sellers are locked in. So many of them refinanced or bought when mortgage rates were at a record low 2.5% or 3%. They are now clinging to those low rates for dear life. They can't afford to sell, because even if they downsized, their new mortgage at 7% would be significantly more expensive. This creates a stalemate. Buyers can't afford the high prices and current interest rates. Sellers can't afford to sell and give up their golden handcuff mortgages. The result is a market that's completely frozen. Transaction volume has plummeted. Nothing is moving. Homes sit on the market not because of a lack of want, but a lack of financial possibility. The population has even started to stagnate or decline as people, especially young families, are forced to leave because they simply cannot afford to live there. Durango shows that even a real city isn't safe when real estate becomes this detached from local incomes. And for our final stop, we land in Pagosa Springs. If you want a textbook example of a short-term rental boom and bust, this is it. Pagosa Springs, known for its world-famous hot springs, became an absolute magnet for investors during the pandemic. People bought up properties, sight unseen, convinced that they could charge premium rates to tourists flocking to the hot springs and nearby Wolf Creek ski area. For a brief moment, they were right, but the gold rush is officially over, and the aftermath is ugly. The data from Pagosa Springs is absolutely shocking. Short-term rental bookings are down a staggering 40% from their peak. 40%. Imagine your income being slashed by that much overnight. That's the reality for hundreds of Airbnb hosts in the area. At the same time this is happening, the inventory of homes for sale for over $1 million has increased by 95%. All the investors who bought at the top are now stampeding for the exits, trying to sell their cash-flowing properties into a market with no buyers. The result is a market in free fall. The average days on market for a home in Pagosa has ballooned to over 130 days. And the gap between what sellers are asking and what local buyers can actually afford is a chasm. The median home price is completely unsustainable for a town where the economy is based on tourism and service jobs. The short-term rental dream has turned into a financial nightmare for many, leaving a trail of over-leveraged investors and a market flooded with overpriced homes that nobody wants or can afford. Pagosa Springs is the final, brutal lesson in what happens when speculative fever infects a small-town real estate market. So, there you have it. From Aspen to Pagosa Springs, the story is shockingly consistent. The Colorado mountain dream, built on a foundation of cheap money, speculative frenzy, and the belief that prices would only ever go up, is crumbling. This isn't just a few price drops. It's a fundamental market reset that is leaving a trail of financial devastation in its wake. What we're witnessing is the painful but necessary correction that always follows an unsustainable boom. The party is over and the cleanup is just beginning. Now I want to hear from you. Are you seeing similar trends in your area? Are resort towns or luxury markets near you experiencing the same kind of pain? Let me know everything down in the comments below. I read every single one, and your insights from on the ground are incredibly valuable. And if you got any value out of this investigation, please do me a favor and decimate that like button and make sure you are subscribed with all notifications turned on so you don't miss what's coming next. We have so much more to cover. This is just the beginning. Stay tuned as we continue to uncover the truth behind America's most iconic destinations. The forces at play here in Colorado are not unique, and we're going to be tracking this story wherever it leads. For all the creators out there, when you're editing your videos, remember to use the YouTube Studio library for music, and let me know the timestamps you think work best. And please, no AI stock footage. Let's keep it real. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.